In question 1, we're told that a seminar room had 4 identical tables, each of which in the shape of a isosceles right-angled triangle. So we have 4 tables that look a bit like this, with a right angle here. We're then given 5 shapes here, A through E, and we're asked which of these arrangements is not possible when these 4 tables are put together. So what you're going to want to do in this question is to think about how these shapes could be divided such that they would be able to generate 4 identical isosceles triangles. So we'll start with A, which appears to be the most simple case, which you should be able to recognise. That by drawing 2 crosses like this, you end up with 4 identical shapes, since you're going from corner to corner, and you end up with 4 identical right-angle triangles, since obviously if you were to orientate this 45 degrees this way, this would be a kite shape with 90 degrees on each angle. Okay, moving on to B. B, in this case, we could recognise that we can have 2 triangles here on either side of the midpoint, and then a final triangle over the top where the tips of these meet, and you'll end up with an identical triangle in the middle. That's because a right-angle triangle will contain a square within it, oriented at a 45-degree angle. So B is also viable. Let's hold off on C for a moment and think about D, where again we should be able to see that we have 2 lines here, and then a final line through the middle, and that gives us 4 triangles. Moving on to E, we can see that by separating this square from this section here, we can divide this in half, and this in half to get 4 identical right-angle triangles. And finally we have C to reckon with, which can actually be separated into 4 triangles, each with right angles, by doing this, but if we were to have a look here, we can see that these shapes are of different sizes, since this square is larger in relative terms than the size of each of these triangles when put together. Now, this is a tricky question insofar as you do have to make a value judgment on the size, so it's important when you're doing this question to not only think whether these arrangements are viable, but also whether it conforms to the description that these are 4 identical tables rather than just 4 right-angled triangles. So we can say in this question that our answer is going to be option C.